Hello friends, welcome to the new video. So today we will be going to discuss about the element 3. I don't want to waste much time because exam is coming up, right? On 6th is the exam. So those who haven't gone through the other elements, the element 1 and element 2, they can refer back the old videos from my channel. It is there in playlist. You can get the playlist rapid discussion on open book examinations 6th August 2020. You can check that playlist, and then in that playlist both the videos for element 1 and element 2 is there. And today in this video we will be going to discuss about element 3. This is a rapid practice session where we will be just going through all the important questions, and you can prepare it for the coming exam on 6th. And on 5th we will try to go through the sample scenario papers also, and we will discuss about that. So let us start the video. Hello friends. So take out your approved text and just go through the page element 3, managing risk, understanding people and process. So personally I will say this element 3 and 4 is my favorite because you can expect lots of questions from these elements. And believe me, element 3 is particularly very important because the ideas and the concepts which are there in element 3 is always used in your in work area also, because you will be more into these areas, the about the permit, about the safe system of work, everything. So you will come across these concepts in your during your work experience, during your working time. You will get all these concepts, you will face these concepts in field. And about 4 I will say it is more into auditing side, but element 3 is very important for those who will be joining any firm, any organization or any company after completing their NIBOSH examinations. So let us start with element 3 for this open book examination. We will see what all important questions you can expect. We will just go through it because we don't have much time left. The exam is on 6th, right? So we will just go through the element 3, and after that I will also try to cover some additional questions which you can expect. So I'm pretty sure, keeping all these questions in mind, definitely you can write some points in your coming exam on 6th. So let us start the practice session. So we have different sessions: health and safety culture, improving health and safety culture, human factors which influence safety related behavior, risk assessment, the management of change, safe system of work, permit to work, emergency procedures and first aid. So as I said, very important element 3. So I will personally suggest during the exam also, if I will recommend you, if you are referring your resources or any materials, it is always better to know what all portions are where in element 3. For example, if you have any doubts related to risk assessment or the safe system of work in during the exam hours, it is always better to know where and in which section you can find the contents. So it will help you to save your time. But anyways, you have enough time, right? You have 24 hours before to submit your answers to NIBOSH. So I think you have lots of time, so you can save your time on the study material if you know where the content is. So let us start. Health and safety culture, if you see definition, I won't recommend about the definition in the scenario questions because the chances are very less for the definitions to be asked, but it's better to know relation between health and safety culture and performance. Yeah, this question you can expect factors that have a negative impact on health and safety culture in an organization. Like it is very useful in a scenario you have seen in previous scenarios also, friends. The same thing happened. They are giving they are giving the conditions or scenarios in which you can see everywhere the negative health and safety culture, there is a negative impact or negative effect on the health and safety culture was generating, right? You remember all the old scenario questions. So these points you have to I will suggest these points are very important. Lack of strong safety leadership, because for most of the questions, if you see friends, for most of the questions these points will get repeated. No one will tell you, but that is sure these questions will be getting repeated every time. Whenever you suggest to management, I will say, whenever they ask any questions where you have to give your suggestion as a safety supervisor to the health and safety committee, to your management, to your what do we say, the managers, to your workforce, I will say these points are very important. Always try to memorize these factors which put negative impact on health and safety culture, because if you remember these points, it will help you. How it will help you? Because during an exam, when you get a scenario, if you get just remember, try to remember the sample paper scenario. You remember that contract manager, the operation manager, and the peoples were complaining, blaming culture, right? All this, if you see all these points, all those points which were there in the NIBOSH standard sample paper is covered here. You see lack of strong safety leadership from management. There was no management, right? You remember? There was no proper support from the operation managers, the contractor managers. Presence of a blame culture. Yes, you remember the workers said, they mentioned, like if they report any complaints to the management will say there is a blaming, they will start blaming back to the workers. So it shows presence of a blame culture. Lack of management commitment to safety, health and safety receiving lower priority than other business. So these points are very important, I must say, to tackle most of the questions related to health and safety culture. It is very important you note down these points and try to make your answers from these points as per the scenario. So this is the way you can pass the exam. So this question is very important, I will say. Indicators of health and safety culture. Yes, you can expect sometimes in the scenario they may ask you a suggestions, like how you can show, you have to give your suggestions, like through what indicators, or how you can say the health and safety culture in a company, in that company is in negative direction, is on a negative trend, negative pattern. How you will prove? So you have to say about the accidents. If any accidents are happening in that scenario, you have to mention about the accidents. You have to mention about the sickness. Maybe in the new scenario, the NIBOSH will say the people are getting sick, they are going on emergencies, medical treatment case, the first aid case, restricted working case, LTI, many terms they will be using. So in that case, you have to mention about the sickness rate, absenteeism, why they are, if in a scenario NIBOSH is saying the people are getting absence, they are getting absence from their duty time, they are not coming on time. So all this these are the indicators, right? These all are the indicators. The staff turnover, if the people are leaving your company, compliance with safety rules, if they are not following the safety rules. So all this will shows the negative indicators. So if any question, if in a scenario they are asking about the negative indicators, you can write these points, the influence of peers, everything. Then improving health and safety culture, effective communication, verbal communications, you can say, yeah, communication part, they won't ask you the difference, because in scenario questions now it is not possible to ask the difference between like the verbal communication or between the written communication. But how they will ask you the question is, like, you remember last time they said in the sample paper, I remember they said there were the one worker is with impaired, there is a disability with hearing problem was there. I mean, in simple language, hearing problem was there for a one worker. So you can expect one question. Maybe they will say like the worker in your company, they doesn't know they doesn't they can't hear properly. So if you how you will be providing the communication? If you provide the verbal communication, he won't get it right. So in that case, they may ask you about the limitations of giving the verbal communication. Similarly, the written communication, for the legal purpose, it is very important. So they you can expect some benefits and limitations. They may ask you in a twisted manner. They may ask you what you think about what is the benefit of written communication, what is the limitations of written communication based on the scenario. Similarly, they can give you a scenario where your worker is not able to listen properly. He is not he's a illiterate person. Illiterate means he is not uh, much graduated. We must say not educated guy, right? Like labors are there, right? Unskilled labors, we may say, or uh, the the labors in the general labors in the site, you may say. So in that case, how you will which communication is the best? So obviously you have to say about the graphic communication is pretty good, because the verbal communication you can't give to this guy because they have the disability. Again, the written communication also no point in that because he can't read properly. So in that case, the graphic communication through the pictures. So this is how they will ask the question. So in that case, you have to suggest the graphic communication. You have to tell them about the benefits about the putting the graphic communication for the workforce. Broadcasting method is important. You have to remember this: the notice board, posters, films, videos, toolbox talks, digital media, internet systems, very important. Memos, emails, worker handbooks is very important. Then you can expect cooperation and consultation. Already we have discussed in our notes. Yeah, health and safety committee forum is very important. Just try to focus on these points given under health and safety committee, because you can expect a question where your company wanted you to form a health and safety committee in your organization. There is nothing, there is no committee, there is no meetings used to happen in your company, and your management wants you to form a health and safety committee. So in that case, uh, as per the rule, like if your company have more than 5 persons or 10 persons, you should form a health and safety committee. It is must. So in this scenario, they may ask you a question like you have to form a health and safety committee. So what all how you will form a effective health and safety committee? What are the points to be taken care? And or they may ask you, you have to submit a report to your management about the health and safety committee formation. So you have to write these points like who is on the committee, how often will the committee meet, all these points you have to write. Okay. And yeah, this function of safety committee, like why it is important, what is the role of safety committee? If you get a question, you have to write these points. Training is very important. We will see some questions related to training opportunities. Why what are the contents for the general induction training for new starters when the new employees come to your organization? What all trainings you will give to them? You can expect a scenario where a new employee joined your company, okay, and some accident happened. The company wanted to know how you will make sure that this kind of accidents never happen in future. What kind of support you will provide to your workforce? So in that case, you have to talk about the induction training. Proper induction training must be there, proper mock drills, everything has to be conducted, it has to be shown. And you have to talk about the contents of induction training, what all contents you will be including. Then You must say training opportunities. I think this is good. Organizational factors. What all of the factors are there? You have to know. That's a basic question you can expect. Then risk perceptions, personality, attitude, ways of improving worker perception of hazards is possible. Possibly you can get a question where they may ask you. They will give you a scenario where uh, related to perception, and they may ask you how you can improve the perception. Then hazards, different types of hazard, risk profiling. I don't think it is just a new term included, but for the scenario I don't think they might be asking any questions from the risk profiling, because since it is the first exam you can expect more easy questions from the samples. What I understood is the level of questions, the questions which will be asked will be quite easy. Only thing is you have to write the sufficient points to get the marks. Risk assessment purpose, yes, you can expect risk assessment is very important. 5 steps of risk assessments you have to know. External information sources, it is good to know that, because they may ask you through what all external information sources you can get the information. So it is important to remember all the information sources. Hazard identification methods, severity, risk rating is good to know. Risk rating, I think risk rating, how you can expect a question is like possibly you may have to define the risk rating. What is the risk rating you have to define, or sometimes you have to give the examples. Like you can give an example about the severity, the likelihood. You can give an example like some person is working on a ladder on a certain height. So the ladder is in a damaged condition. So in that case, the likelihood, the severity will be high, right? The likelihood of accident will be also high because the ladder is damaged. So you can give these points. You can, based on these points, you can show what is the likelihood, what is the severity. Similarly, what you did, you replace this ladder. You replace this ladder with a new one. You provided the safety harnesses for the people working on the height. So severity level. So what has happened? The likelihood, you have decreased the likelihood, right? You have reduced the likelihood. Severity will be same, but you have reduced the likelihood of accident to happen. So in that case, again, the risk rating will be reduced. So this is how you have to give an example if they ask you any question about the risk rating or the risk assessment matrix. If they ask you to give an example, you can give an example like this. Then general hierarchy, Ericpedia. General hierarchy is good, is important, because there may be, you can expect a question related to this on scenario basis, where general hierarchy is like nothing Eric PD. So you can accept you can expect a question related to this, like some incidents happened in a company or some accidents happened, and how you will how you will control this kind of risk control hierarchy, how you will set up a risk control hierarchy in your company. So you have, based on the situation, you have to tell about the points of elimination, like how you will be eliminating it, how you will be substituting it, how you will be using the engineering control methods, and how you will use the administrative control methods like the work pattern, the time durations which you will set, the permits which you set, similarly about the PPs, everything. So you can expect that. Safety signs. Earlier they used to ask questions from the safety signs and all. What are the different kinds of safety signs? It's good to know. Then PPE. Yeah, PPE also you can expect a question like after having the person got injured while doing the sandblasting work, or during the welding, or during the grinding work using abrasive wheel, or using any power tools, the person got injured. So what were the reasons? Maybe in scenario it was mentioned he was not wearing the gloves, he was not wearing the goggles, not wearing the helmets, not wearing the proper clothes, aprons. So in that case, they may ask you about the suggestions. You have to talk about the PP, the role of PP. They may ask you, right? You have to suggest suitable PP. Sometimes they may give you the situation and they may ask you what all PPs you will suggest. So better focus on PPs which are used for the welding, for the grinding, welding, and I must say, yeah, this too is important because these all are the general activities. So whatever PPs which are used during these activities, you can go through it. Then benefits and benefits of PP. Good, it is good. You can expect. It's good to know about the benefits and some limitations. Then recording significant changes. It is okay. Implementation. Young person, yeah, special cases and vulnerable workers is important. They may give a situation where a young person joined your company as a trainee or in a probation period. So what are the risk, like how he will be affected, why he is more vulnerable to risk, they may ask you. Similarly, what suggestions you will give to the management to make sure that this young persons or the vulnerable persons are not get affected by the risk in your site. Similarly, new and expected mothers, for the pregnant woman also you can expect a scenario where there may be some pregnant woman present in the site, and what all risk they may ask you to conduct a study, to conduct a risk analysis for them. So they have to say talk about the common hazards towards the pregnant woman, the disabled workers, the lone workers. Lone workers, usually I have discussed one scenario about lone workers in my Nibosh notes. You can get it on my playlist. In in lone workers, you can expect a situation where some nurses, like commonly the nurses, the patient care people, they are going to remote areas as a lone worker. Just consider one guy or one lady, she or he is going to a lone or area as a patient care administrator or as a nurse. They are going there, so what all precautions they have to take care, what all they have to, how they can reduce the risk to their job. So this kind of questions you can expect. Management change, welfare emergency procedures, welfare provisions. Yeah, welfare provisions, like you can expect a scenario in which there is no proper welfare provisions in your company, and the management may ask you, or like there will be scenario where the people doesn't have proper drinking water, there is no proper sanitary or washing facilities. So you have to point out to management that there is no proper welfare provisions provided in the site. So like this you can get a scenario. Emergency procedures we will discuss. Then safe system of work, it's important. Safe system of work is very important. uh, PME, always remember, you have to remember the term PME along with the safe system of work. Whenever they ask you how, if there is no proper safe system of work, how it will affect your organization, you can mention about PEME. That is a very good idea to put these points, PEME, because even I have mentioned this in my notes, Nibosh notes. If you mention about the PEME, people, equipment, materials, environment, the examiner will be very much impressed. About SSW, the technical procedures, behavioral controls, procedures, developing a safe system of work. How can you develop a proper safe system of work? You can go through that. Then permit to work is important. This time you may expect a question from permit to work, like there is no proper safe system of work is there, how you can manage the task or manage the activities, or they may give you a scenario where the people started the work without informing the supervisors, there was an accident, or they may give you a scenario of the confined space. It is very important. Confined space is very important because already they have the Nibosh, they have already have some small portions about the confined space, not in detail, but they have small portions about confined space. So it is very important. They may give a scenario where the confined, some accidents happen in confined space. So what is the reason, how you will make sure this kind of accidents doesn't happen? So guys, you have to talk about permit of work, which is very important. You have to say the proper permit to work is very important. You have to talk about PTW, and you have to tell how you can set up the permit to work, what are the different stages. And you can also tell the your management in the scenario, like for what all activities you can set a permit to work, like hot work, working on high voltage, confined space, all this you have to mention. And in the procedure, like how you will set up a permit of work, you can mention all this, the issue, receipt, clearance, the cancellation, the process you can mention. Typical uses of permit system, hot work precautions. As I said, the hot work, it's better to go through these precautions for the hot work, the PPs which they use. Similarly, the precautions for electrical system, and all, or for this hot work, how they won't ask you directly. They are not going to ask you directly what is the precaution for hot work, or they are not going to ask you directly what is the precaution for electrical system. No, you will be given a scenario like where some welding was happening. Okay, they will tell you the welding was happening, there was a gas leakage, there was no fire extinguisher, so what all precautions you have to take. Similarly, they may tell you there was electrical panel which need to be undergo repair. Okay, electrical repair which needs to be undergo electrical repair, and some people are working on some equipments which are connected to the electrical panel. You have to repair the electrical panel, or any machines or any lathe which is connected to some lathe, or some big machines, heavy machines are connected to this electrical panels. Work you need to start, what are procedures you have to do. So in that case you have to talk about all this, starting from the permits, everything you have to talk. What all precautions you say, you have to talk about lotto test, lockout and tagout test. It's like, for those people who doesn't know, it is good if you write about lockout and tagout test, you will get additional marks, because the examiner will be impressed. For people those who are not aware of lotto test, I will repeat. Lotto test is a procedure. It is a set of procedure where before you started to work on any energy sources or any electrical panels or any energy storing devices, there is a procedure where you will be lock out that portions, and you will put a tag on that, which shows that yes, this equipment is under service, or some people, competent people, are working on it. So what will happen is no one will be able to start the machine. Because you are putting a lock, it will be like a normal lock which you put on your door or like that. So when you lock that system, if other guy, if your workforce comes and start the machine, it won't start. I believe you know about the incidents which happened in Andhra Pradesh. What happened, like in Andhra Pradesh, uh, last time one accident happened, right? They have started the equipments, and the leakage of nitrate gas happened. So what happened is this machine was under maintenance, and after a long time the workers came, they were uneducated workers, they started the machine. So what was supposed to do, if the machine was damaged, they were supposed to plug out the machine, or they have to put some notices, or at least they have to put some lock tag out system, so that they won't be able to start the machine. So this is the way, this is the procedure which is used on all electrical systems, hydraulic systems, everywhere this system is used. So it is good to write about lotto, lockout, and tagout test, if you can write as the precautions. Then confined space, work at height, you can expect a question. Emergency procedure, my favorite. I think a very important topic. Because why it is important? Because you may be giving a scenario in which some emergency things happened in the site. Maybe the fire, the bomb threat, release of toxic gas, outbreak of disease, something will be there, and your management will ask you like a report about this kind of procedures. So they may ask you like for what all situations we have to prepare the emergency procedure. See, this is the way they will ask you the question: for what all procedure, for what all situation we have to prepare the emergency procedure. So in that scenario, you have to talk about the fire, bomb threat you have to give. They may ask you what all emergency procedure arrangements you will do for your company. The points are there. You have to deal training and testing. How you will provide the training, how you will give the mock, how you will conduct the mock drill. All you have to talk about in emergency procedures. So it's very important. First aid requirements. Yes, you can expect a situation where in a site one of the worker uh, felt fell down unconscious on the site, and you found that uh, there were lag in giving the first aid. So you may have to talk about the first aid facilities. There might be some questions related to first aid, how what all needed to be have in first aid kit. So you have to mention about the items, how you will set up a first aid facilities, what is the conditions, what about the room, why it is important, what is the role of first aid, right? Similarly, types of first aid persons, how you will select the first aiders, what training you will be giving to the first aiders, and what factors you will be considering when deciding a first aid provision and the number of first aiders. So this is how they will connect the questions and they will ask you. It is very simple. You have to just, as I said, you have to go through the uh, points which I mentioned in the text. So this is the approved text which we have discussed, and now we will be seeing the additional questions, and we will wind up this element. So friends, let us start the additional questions. We will discuss it here, and this time I will read the answers little slowly, because some of our subscribers have suggested me to speak slowly so that they can note down the points. Now the first question is, why it is important that all persons are aware of their roles and responsibilities for health and safety in an organization. So I will suggest some points and you can later explain these points in more details and you can add your own points too. So for this you can write like organizing health and safety requires team efforts from everyone. Next you can write in order to bring collective enthusiasm, skills and efforts. Then to prevent any accident or ill health rather than blaming individual for the accident occurs. For developing good health and safety culture. Then the next question is reasons why visitors to a workplace might be at greater risk of injury than others. So these are the reasons. Visitors are unfamiliar with workplace processes, the hazards and associated risks. They will have a lack of knowledge of the site or premises layout. They may come in contact of any hidden hazards. They may not have appropriate PPE. They are not familiar with the emergency procedures or other means of escape. Now similarly in a scenario you can also expect this question like what all measures will be taken by you to ensure the health and safety of the visitors who are coming to your workplace. So we will see the answer for this. So for this you can write like visitors signing in and being provided with a site escort, then providing appropriate PPE and identity badges, providing simple induction procedures with a short video and information on site rules, hazards and emergency procedures. Similarly, clear marking of walkway and area where unauthorized people are not permitted. Apart from this, you can write other points also. Well, this is the question which is very important and it was discussed many times before, even in my Nibosh notes also, which is how two companies in same workplace could cooperate together to achieve health and safety standards. If two companies are in same workplace, how can they achieve the common health and safety standards? So here you can write workforce from both organization should be aware of hazards related to both organization. There should be one safety committee between them. They should have common minimum safety programs. They must follow single window safety system. Monitoring and review of the performance with the help of incident and accident data which happened in the workplace before. Common inspection plans must be there. They must be cooperating with each other. They must coordinate with other organization in order to comply with legal requirements. Now this is another important question like related to contractors. Some contractors are going to start a work in an organization and you have noticed the work is going to start. So how could you reduce the risk? Various risks will be there, right, to the contractor. So how you will reduce this risk to them before the start of work or during this work period? Reducing the risk to the contractor team, the team of contractors, or the workforce from the contractor who is going to work there. So how you will reduce the risk? So you can write like initial selection of a competent contractors, ensuring that they had sufficient resources and had allowed sufficient time to enable the work to be completed safely. Need to share information with the contractor on the particular risk in the working area. For instance, the presence of vehicles including forklift trucks or the danger of falling materials. Sharing the location of hazardous materials such as asbestos and other underground services. General site safety rules such as smoking policy and references to the host employer's safety policy. Any requirement for permits to work for certain work activities. Accident reporting procedures, emergency procedures, if anything is there. Informing them of the location of welfare facilities. Similarly, while the work was in progress, there would have to be ongoing cooperation and coordination with the contractor, with the regular monitoring of performance in ensuring the health and safety of both their and the organization's workers. Now the another question is from the training session. You can say how can you assess the effectiveness of health and safety training which you have provided to your workforce. So here you can say like by pre and post course evaluation forms at the time of training sessions you can identify. Then the subsequent refresher sessions or the refresher trainings when it will be given, you can check how effective was the training before given by checking the improvements in health and safety performance such as reduction in incidents and all. Sometimes you can expect this question like you have provided training to your workforce, so why it is important for you or your organization to keep a record of the training which is provided to your workforce. So the first reason is to satisfy legal requirements. to provide proof of an employee's expected level of competence, to identify when additional or refresher training might be needed, to enable a review of the effectiveness of any training to be carried out, to assess the progress of the training program against any targets, to provide evidence to be used in any future accident investigations. Now the next question is why there shall be a written procedures for safe system of work. So why it is important for safe system of work to have written procedures is because the procedures may contain complex information that will need to be consulted on more than one occasion to ensure the correct sequence of operation is followed. So for that written procedures are very important. Different people will need to be aware of the procedure, and it is preferable to have them written down rather than passing them on by word of mouth or through the verbal communication. A written document will also be needed for audit purpose, so it will be a big evidence. The use of written procedures may well be a requirement of the organization's quality assurance procedures for audit purpose, etc. So it is very important to have written procedures, and it can be also referred back anytime. So it is very important. So here, like, you are working in an organization and you have noticed that the number of incidents or ill health or the absenteeisms are increasing in your people. So list the sources of information available to help reduce the risk. How, with which all information, sources of information are there available through which you can identify and reduce the risk to the workers. So you can say like the accident and ill health reports together with an analysis of records of absenteeism, worker records which will provide information on their age or any other disability, diseases they have, relevant information from safety committee meetings and from the supervisors, particularly of any complaints. You can check the complaint log, complaint books, registers, the result of survey, interviews with the workers, published information such as guidance from the enforcement authorities, etc. It can also help. Also the risk assessments and job safety analysis where the need for repetitive actions has been identified. Now the next question is what all topics need to be included in a safety committee meeting. So you can include the following topic like the outcome of any recent inspections done by the enforcing authorities, the outcome of any third party audits which relate to health, safety and environmental issues, any recent accidents, incidents and near misses, their reports and outcomes, any problems which are there in workplace like the hazards, any other issues, emergency procedures you can discuss, topics like stress at work, long hours, environmental conditions, unsafe acts, conditions and hazards you can discuss. Similarly, changes in the legislation, rules and their impact, outcome of any risk assessment, any changes, any modifications to be done, accident, incident, sickness, near misses, etc. Workplace inspection schedules you can discuss. Now this is another question where you can be asked like how does a safety committee fails in action and how to make sure that the effectiveness of a safety committee is maintained. So why health and safety committee fails is like lack of management commitment, no clear terms to discuss, unbalanced memberships like too many managers and if there is no commitment from the management, lack of any respect to team members, blaming everything, poor leadership of the chairperson, then no proper discussions related to health and safety, no directions or no priorities, no proper timings for the health and safety meetings to be attended, and unwanted topics to be discussed, all leads to the ineffective health and safety actions. So how can you make it effective means you have to write the positive points for this. Also you can write like authority to consider recommendations to people, knowledge and expertise must be given more focus, right number and of members must be included in the committee. Similarly, priorities must be given part of meeting to be very active, topics must be proper, there must not be any diversion, good communications with the management and between the other members, all you can write. This question was asked by one of our subscribers like why it is important to develop emergency procedures. So you have to write some important points like emergency procedures are need to be developed because it need to be comply with legal requirements. They need to be prepared for foreseeable emergencies. We can't predict, right, what all emergencies will come. So for the future emergencies, it has to be developed to ensure the safety and protection of the workers, including those who are dealing with the emergency, to assist the safe evacuation of the persons, including those with specific needs, such as visitors and the disabled or vulnerable persons, to provide information on the action to be taken not only by the workers but also by the neighbors and others who might be affected by the emergencies. For example, if they are working in the shared occupancy or premises. Also, to allocate specific responsibilities to certain workers in the event of an evacuation being necessary. So it is very important to develop it before, to be able to mitigate the effects of adverse events and to restore the situation to normal, and to ensure the procedures are made available to any relevant emergency services, and to ensure the business continuity is maintained. It is very important to develop emergency procedures. Also, you can find one question sometimes, like why sometimes employee underestimates the seriousness of hazards at workplace. This is very common in on workplace. The workforce or the laborers, they won't be bothered about hazards or the risk. Why? What is the reason? So the you can write many points, like the person may not be have been exposed to the situation in the past. It is like he never faced this kind of hazards or risk before, so that is the reason he is not very much bothered, or he underestimates this risk or this hazard. He has worked in the same job without any ill effects or without any problems, so he thinks that this hazard doesn't do or doesn't have any effect on him. His attitude, like, I don't care. You can write about this. The person might be weak or the tired, so he's not taking care of that hazard which is there in front of him. He doesn't have any proper training. Maybe he's a young person or the vulnerable person. Similarly, overconfident on PPE. Sometimes it happens, like they have PPE, so they believe nothing will happen to them. Sometimes alarms won't be working properly, or the detectors. For example, if you are working in a gas area, for example, the presence of hydrogen sulfide or carbon monoxide, and in that case, if your detectors or the gas monitoring devices are not working properly, then in that case, it is very risky, very dangerous. Similarly, if he have taken any alcohol, drugs, obviously it will affect his perception. So friends, this is the end of the today's video. These are the important questions from element 3. I have tried to cover as many as questions possible. There are few other questions left, but I'm sure you can answer them also. So in next video we will be going to see the last element 4, and after that we will be seeing one more different scenario questions before you write the exam on 6th. So see you soon.